Okay, so today we have Pixies and Gigantic, and yes, I did get a haircut if you're a returning viewer, and I kind of look like a lesbian in a way now. But anyway, today we have Pixies, like I said, and I wanted to do this in part because Steve Albini just passed away, and I wanted to do something, in memory of him. And of course, he produced this album for the Pixies, their first album, Surfer Rosa. So yeah, Gigantic. We're gonna get into this one. This is the single version as well, not the album version. So let's get into it. Talk about it after. As well, there is a cat outside my door who is in heat, so hopefully she doesn't say too much. Anyway, let's go. Goodness gracious. Like those backing vocals.
And this I know, his teeth as white as snow. What a gas it was to see him walk her every day into a shady place. The lips she said, hey Polly, 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 let's have a ball. Hey Polly, 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 let's have a ball. Hey Polly, 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 let's have a ball. Gigantic, 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 a big, big love. Gigantic, 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 a big, big love.
Gigantic.
Lovely legs they are. What a big black mess, what a hunk of love. He'd walk her every day into a shady place. He's like the dark, but I'd warn him. Hey Polly, 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 let's have a ball. Hey Polly, 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 let's have a ball. Hey Polly, 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 let's have a ball. Gigantic, 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 a big, big love. 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 A big, big love.
Okay, so there it is, Pixies and Gigantic. So you talk about Gigantic. I mean, my God, what a gigantic bass line! I gotta say off the top here. And Kim Deal, who was on lead vocals and on the bass, of course, here. And I do believe that this is one of the only songs that she sings for Pixies. Because usually it's Black Francis or Frank Black, whoever you want to say it. I don't hear my cat, so that's good. Anyway, and yeah, I mean, she's great here, I have to say. I love her kind of croaky voice in a way. You can tell she has a very punk-influenced voice, I guess, also. But I also have to mention that Francis in the back there, he just because he could go so high, obviously, and he's doing the high backing vocals here, and that really kind of, took a part of my brain for this track when I was listening to it. I just loved his high vocals. I mean, my God, I can't replicate it, good Lord. But I just love that repetition that he was doing behind Kim. And the repeated, obviously, bass line here, too. Very infectious. At the same time, you don't get tired of it. It's so big and it's so bold. And from the get-go, it takes over the guitar, kind of outshines the guitar work. And even the guitar work here sounds pretty frantic. It sounds wild from, I believe, Joey Santiago. It's been so long. Actually, I was looking at my videos here, and the last time I reacted to Pixies was 2021, and I was like, God damn, I didn't know it was that long. Anyway, so I just want to look at the personnel one more time. So Black Francis on this track specifically is on backing vocals and also on rhythm guitar. Kim Deal on bass and, of course, lead vocals on this track. And I do believe this is the only track she sings on this album for lead vocals anyway. And then, like I said, Joey Santiago on lead guitar and David Lovering on drums, which, again, great last name, Lovering, my goodness. Anyway, but again, Joey's guitar work here can't be, I mean, like I said, it kind of is outshined by the bass, but at the same time, his guitar work is pretty frantic at times. You know, they get very loud. And I do know that the Pixies, and I think about another band like Nirvana, who Steve Albini also produced with In Utero, they always utilize that kind of quiet to loud kind of dynamic, or the loud to quiet to loud, whatever. And again, here, you know, the song starts off pretty quiet, and then by the, I would say the chorus, you know, before the chorus, so it kind of got louder, and then it goes right into a loud spot, and then we come right back down. And I always enjoy that those kind of transitions. I guess it kind of keeps you on your toes. And when Kim goes right into, you know, gigantic, you know, just going off, and then again you have Black Francis in the background with you're just going off. That was terrible. But anyway, with his voice just going straight up, you know, sound like my cat right now in heat. And it's in a good way. But again, I just love how they would kind of turn into a riot there, and of course the drumming would pick up, everything would pick up, and it just sounded like a blast. And again, it's an infectious sound. And but the song seems pretty simple as well, you know, even lyrically too. I don't know, it's a simple song to kind of get into, you know, only a little over 3 minutes here. And I do believe it was the first single they released, and the story here behind it's kind of interesting as well. And yeah, I gotta say, you know, shout out to Black Francis and Kim and Joey and David here. I mean, they were all so good, you know, and this being the first album as well. It just sounds so good. I mean, again, they were obviously kind of influential in their sound, of course, this being in 1988, and, you know, they would influence many different people to come. And again, I don't know, their sound was just so good at this time. I mean, I wasn't alive, but I feel like it was probably a fresh sound, of course, and Steve Albini, again, was a big part of that as the producer here. And again, the producer, I believe he was only like 25 or 26 when he produced this album, which is just like kind of nuts to me anyway. But yeah, so go into these lyrics now. I think I said everything I wanted to say off the top. Again, Kim Deal is obviously a big deal on this track, and she did co-write it too with Black Francis, which I guess was something that didn't happen often. Usually Black Francis wrote the songs himself, but Kim Deal helped him out with this one. And so this seems like, you know, Kim is all over this one particularly. Anyway, and this I know, his teeth as white as snow, what a gas it was to see him walk her every day into a shady place with her lips, she said, and then we go right into the pre-chorus before we get a little, you know, bigger into the chorus. But again, you know, the hey Paul, hey Paul, hey Paul, let's have a ball, and that's repeated. And at the same time, I mean, the song kind of just oozes sex, I would say. It just oozes romantic vibes in a way as well, and it oozes, I'm saying oozes a lot, but again, it oozes all these things that you talk about, you know, big love, a gigantic big love in the same way as well. And also you think about what else could they be referring to when they say gigantic, and you talk about, you know, a man and a woman here. Anyway, but I did see something here on Rolling Stone, I do believe, and it just kind of gives a little summary of the song. I just want to say right off the bat. So it says, you know, it says here, Kim Deal was asked to complete this song, you know, if she wanted to complete it. And that night she sat down with her husband, John Murphy, and wrote a song about a white woman watching a black man have sex. And it says, as it says here, use your imagination as to what gigantic may refer to. And it says this was also inspired by the movie from 1986, Crimes of the Heart. And it goes on as well, you know, it's one of the only songs that Deal sings on. But anyway, I guess just that whole kind of thing, being a voyeur in a way, watching this black guy have sex while you're married and you're kind of falling in love with him. And it's just like, well, my goodness gracious, obviously there's a little bit of a conflict here. But again, it just, she's just describing this guy, I guess, and talking about what she would like, you know, to be done to her what's being done to this other person, I guess, in a way. But anyway, and the whole hey Paul, let's have a ball. I would say she's about time to have sex, basically. She's ready for it. I mean, good Lord. And then we go into the chorus here with Kim Deal and Frank Black, as it's put here on genius.com. Gigantic, a big love. A big love. And I guess, as Frank also said, I was looking at Wikipedia here, my goodness, as I do, look at a bunch of stuff. He said that he had the word gigantic in his head and he just wanted to use it for a song. And I guess that's when he sent to Kim, can you maybe write a song with this word gigantic? And then she took it, and there you go with her husband. But anyway, and obviously, again, you think about gigantic, and maybe he was thinking about gigantic because he just wanted to have such a gigantic bass line, and he wanted the song to sound gigantic. So why not have the word gigantic in there, for the chorus? I mean, my God, it all works out very well. So again, keeping in mind that whole thing of this woman, this white woman, I guess you would say, watching this black man have sex with somebody else, and kind of, again, it's getting a little hot and heavy over it. We move on to the second verse. Lovely legs, they're, what a big black mess, what a hunk of love. It's just like the wording here is a little bit, humorous to me anyway. A big hunk of burning love, good Lord. He'd walk her every day into a shady place. He's like the dark, but I want him. And then we go with the pre-chorus, hey Paul, let's have a ball. And again, I guess just describing this guy again, what a big black mess, what a hunk of love. And I mean, I guess maybe when she's talking about, specifically when he's doing the deed here, perhaps he just turns into a mess, and it's just all hot and heavy and sweaty and beautiful, and good Lord. Anyway, then we go to that chorus once again. You have the instrumental break and then the chorus again and the instrumental outro. And that's what I said earlier, it's kind of a simple track in that way. Structurally it's kind of, I know, I feel like I've never talked about a song structurally, but yeah, it's just kind of simple. You have a couple verses, and then you have the choruses repeated, and you have the instrumental breaks in there, of course, to end off the song too. And it's just kind of a simple song in that way. I love its simplicity, and I love its authenticity as well. I love its kind of indie vibe, the post-punk vibe in a way, perhaps you might say, and or just the punk vibe as well. But yeah, and it's just how big it sounds. I mean, that's the whole point of it, how gigantic it sounds, and how kind of infectious the chorus is, and infectious everything is. Even if you don't know maybe what the story is about, you're just singing about gigantic. And I do believe, I did see a quote here from Kim Deal from songfacts.com. It says, because people always talk about, I guess, what does gigantic mean? And she said, it goes on, what gigantic in the song means is up for debate. Kim Deal has said that it is purely innocent. She told Sounds in 1988 that there is no, I guess, sexual imagery, intended when it comes to the whole gigantic thing. You think about a guy's penis. I mean, there you go. Anyway, but she said, my personality came out, she said, I'm fresh and clean. So either way, I mean, it is still up for interpretation, because when you think about gigantic and you talk about, a guy and a girl having sex, you're going to think about the guy's dick. But anyway, I mean, whatever. But yeah, so anyway, I really enjoyed this song. I loved its energy. I loved how frantic the guitar sounded at times. I'm stuttering over my words or tripping over them anyway. And again, the bass work is just, what you kind of really take away from the track. And again, Kim's great vocals, very strong, I have to say too. And yeah, so anyway, she really, did well on a song, where at a time, I guess, where she didn't really, do lead vocals, but she shined here. And I guess this became a concert favorite, and one that they usually close off with. So there we go. Anyway, rest in peace, of course, to Steve Albini. He did so much great work with Pixies, Nirvana, PJ Harvey comes to mind as well. And my goodness. So anyway, the soundtrack to many people's lives, of course. So yeah, I just had to do something about it, because I always enjoyed his interesting interviews as well. Not too long ago, he did one with Conan O'Brien, which I really enjoyed. I think Conan, Chris Novoselic, and Dave Grohl. And then again, that was maybe a few months ago, and now he's gone. I mean, my God. But anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for liking, subscribing, commenting, all that stuff. Really appreciate all the support. And sorry if this comes out bad. I don't know. I feel like, I tripped over some of my words. It's 3 a.m, but here we are anyway. So yeah, thanks again for everything, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.